Maya Chen stood at attention in the long line of cadets, trying not to fidget as the inspection dragged on. She was the only human in a sea of aliens, and at 5 feet 7 inches tall she felt impossibly small. The blue-skinned Ardaxian to her left stood nearly 8 feet tall. The reptilian Zorn to her right had arms thick as tree trunks. Maya had only her wits and determination, neither of which were visible to the critical eyes of Commander Zex Vorn. "Cadet Chen," Commander Zex Vorn said, his voice a low growl as he stopped in front of her. His 4 yellow eyes narrowed as he looked down at her. "The human experiment." Maya kept her eyes forward, not daring to meet his gaze. "Yes, Commander. I still do not understand why the Academy wasted a spot on your kind," he said. "Humans have been part of the Galactic Confederation for barely 20 years. You have no natural armor, no enhanced senses, no extraordinary strength." He circled her slowly. "Your only evolutionary advantage seems to be an ability to breed quickly and consume resources." Laughter rippled through the ranks. Maya's cheeks burned, but she kept her face blank. She had heard worse in the 3 months since she'd arrived at the Galactic Defense Academy. "Tell me, Cadet," Commander Zex Vorn continued, "why should we believe humans are ready for space warfare? Your species was killing each other with metal projectiles just 2 centuries ago." "All species evolve, Commander," Maya said. "Humans learn quickly. We shall see." The commander moved on, but not before adding, "Though I doubt you'll last the term." When the inspection ended, Maya headed to the training hall. The Academy was carved into an asteroid orbiting a gas giant called Nexus Prime. The artificial gravity made her steps feel heavier than on Earth, adding to her daily struggle. "Hey, human," a voice called from behind. Maya turned to see Trill, a cadet from the water world of Aquarius. His translucent skin showed the outline of multiple hearts beating beneath. "Heard you scored in the bottom percentile on the weapons assessment." "Again." "I'm improving," Maya said, continuing to walk. "Sure you are." Trill fell into step beside her. "You know the washout rate is 60%, right? And that's for qualified species." Maya had heard this before. Humans were considered provisional members of the Confederation. Her acceptance to the Academy had been part of a diplomatic gesture, one that many felt was premature. "I'll make it," she said simply. Trill laughed. "You'll be gone before the winter solstice. There's even a betting pool." Maya stopped walking. "And what are my odds?" Trill's mouth, a small slit in his face, curved upward. "Let's just say if you somehow graduate, I'll lose my entire stipend for the year. Then I hope you've been saving," Maya said, and pushed past him into the training hall. Inside, cadets were already paired up for combat exercises. Maya's usual partner, a quiet Sylvan named Alara, waved her over. "Sorry I'm late," Maya said, tying back her dark hair. "Commander Zex Vorn again?" Alara asked. Unlike many of her classmates, Alara had been kind to Maya. Her plant-based biology made her nearly as out of place as Maya in combat training. Who else? Maya sighed, stretching her arms. "Sometimes I think he was personally offended when Earth joined the Confederation." "He fought in the border wars," Alara said quietly. "Lost half his squadron to a human pirate vessel," Maya frowned. "I didn't know that." "It doesn't excuse his behavior," Alara added, "but it explains it. Many older officers still see humans as unpredictable and dangerous." The training instructor, a 4-armed Viridian named Lieutenant Kosh, called the class to order. "Today we continue hand-to-hand combat. Remember, in space, weapons fail. Ships lose power. When all else is gone, you still have your bodies." Maya tried not to grimace. Hand-to-hand was her worst subject. Her human reflexes, while quick by Earth standards, were painfully slow compared to most other species. "Cadet Chen," Lieutenant Kosh called out. "Front and center. You'll demonstrate with Cadet Vrax." Vrax was a hulking Tauran with metallic skin and a permanent scowl. He was twice Maya's weight and known for not holding back in training exercises. She stepped forward, heart hammering in her chest. "The objective," Lieutenant Kosh said, "is to disable your opponent without causing permanent injury. Begin." Vrax charged immediately. Maya sidestepped, but he anticipated her move and changed direction with impossible speed. His arm caught her midsection, sending her sprawling across the mat. Laughter erupted from the watching cadets. Maya scrambled to her feet just as Vrax closed in again. This time she dropped to the floor and rolled between his legs, but he simply reached down and grabbed her ankle, lifting her into the air as if she weighed nothing. "Is this the best Earth has to offer?" Vrax sneered, holding her upside down. In desperation, Maya twisted her body and kicked at his face with her free leg. The blow connected, but it was like kicking a wall. Vrax didn't even flinch. Enough, Lieutenant Kosh called. Cadet Vrax is the victor, again. Vrax dropped her unceremoniously to the mat. Maya landed hard on her shoulder, pain shooting down her arm. Pathetic, someone muttered as she limped back to the line. The rest of the day passed in a blur of classes. Astrophysics, where Maya actually excelled. Weapon systems, where she struggled with the alien technology. Xenobiology, where she was often the subject of study rather than a student. By evening meal, Maya was exhausted and bruised. She sat alone in the dining hall, picking at food that never quite tasted right to her human palate. "Is this seat taken?" a soft voice asked. Maya looked up to see a slender, silver-skinned cadet she recognized from her astrophysics class. "No, go ahead," she said, surprised. "I'm Taz," the cadet said, sitting down. "Engineering Division. Maya Chen, Operations." "I know who you are," Taz said, their silver eyes studying her. "Everyone does." "The human," Maya sighed. "If you're here to make fun—" "I'm not," Taz interrupted. "I saw your work on the gravitational physics problem. It was innovative." "Oh," Maya said, caught off guard. "Thanks. Your species thinks differently than most," Taz continued. "It's interesting." Before Maya could respond, a message flashed on the dining hall's main screen. All cadets were summoned to the assembly hall immediately. The room buzzed with speculation as everyone filed out. In the assembly hall, Admiral Vryn, the Academy's director, stood on the stage. Her crystalline form glittered under the lights. "Cadets," she began, her voice resonating through the hall. "The time has come for your first major assessment. As you know, only the top 40% of first years advance to specialized training." Maya felt a knot form in her stomach. "This was earlier than expected. Tomorrow each of you will face the Kobayashi simulation," the Admiral continued. "This test will evaluate your decision-making under extreme pressure, the kind of pressure that real officers face daily." Whispers swept through the crowd. The Kobayashi was legendary for its difficulty. "Your performance will determine not just your advancement, but your very future in this academy," Admiral Vryn said. "Prepare well. Dismissed." As cadets filed out, Commander Zexvorn approached Maya. "Cadet Chen," he said, his voice unusually quiet. "A word." Maya followed him to a corner of the hall, aware of curious stares. "The Kobayashi is designed to push cadets to their breaking point," he said. "For most species, we have centuries of psychological data to calibrate the test. And for humans?" Maya asked. His yellow eyes studied her. "You are an unknown variable. Your species' mental resilience is untested." "What are you saying, Commander?" "I'm saying that if you wish to withdraw before tomorrow, it would be understood." His tone wasn't mocking for once, but genuinely concerned. There is no shame in recognizing one's limitations. Maya straightened her shoulders. "With respect, Commander, I'll take the test. Even knowing you will likely fail?" "Especially then," she replied. "How else will we learn human limitations?" Commander Zexvorn regarded her for a long moment. "Very well, Cadet. Report to Simulation Room 7 at 800 hours. He turned to leave, then paused. "And Cadet Chen? Do try not to embarrass your species entirely." As Maya watched him walk away, she felt a strange mix of fear and determination. Tomorrow would either be the end of her academy journey or the beginning of proving everyone wrong about humans. She just wasn't sure which yet. Maya couldn't sleep. The night before the Kobayashi simulation, she lay awake in her small quarters, staring at the ceiling. The room was designed for larger species, making her standard-issue bed feel enormous. Just another reminder that she didn't quite fit here. Her tablet glowed softly beside her, displaying what little information she could find about the test. The Kobayashi simulation was named after an ancient Earth training scenario, though the Academy version was far more advanced. Cadets faced an impossible situation and were evaluated not on whether they succeeded, but on how they handled failure. "Great," Maya muttered to herself. "A test designed to make you fail." She scrolled through her notes from the past 3 months. Technical specifications of various spacecraft. Diplomatic protocols for 17 major species. Emergency procedures for everything from hull breaches to first contact scenarios. Would any of it help tomorrow? Maya wasn't sure. But studying gave her something to do besides worry. A soft chime indicated an incoming message. It was from Alara. Still awake? The message read, "Meet me in Study Hall 3, not alone." Curious, Maya pulled on her uniform and made her way through the quiet corridors. The academy never truly slept. Many species required little or no rest, but the night cycle meant fewer cadets roaming the halls. Study Hall 3 was one of the smaller rooms, tucked away in a corner of the living quarters section. When Maya entered, she was surprised to find not just Alara, but Taz and two other cadets she recognized but hadn't spoken to. "You came," Alara said, her leaf-like hair rustling softly with movement. "What's going on?" Maya asked. A stocky cadet with rocky skin stepped forward. "I'm Brel," he said, "geology specialist from Terax Prime." "And I'm Nix," said the other, a shadowy figure whose form seemed to shift and flow. "Tactical Division." "We've been watching you," Taz said. Maya tensed. "Watching me?" "Not in a creepy way," Alara added quickly. We're the misfits." "The Academy accepts many species," Brel explained, his voice rumbling like distant thunder. "But some of us don't fit the traditional warrior mold." "I'm too slow," Alara said. "Brel is considered too methodical. Taz thinks too abstractly. And Nix is unpredictable," Nix finished, their voice echoing strangely. "And you're human," Taz said to Maya. "The ultimate outsider." Maya looked around at the group. "So what is this? A support group for Academy rejects?" "We prefer to think of it as a collaborative effort to survive," Brel said. "Tomorrow's simulation is designed to eliminate cadets like us." "But we've been studying past tests," Alara said, "and we think we found patterns." Taz activated a holographic display in the center of the table. It showed various simulation scenarios from previous years. "The Kobayashi always involves a no-win scenario," they explained. "A ship in distress, a time limit, impossible choices. The key isn't to succeed," Nix added, their form rippling. "It's to fail in the right way." "What does that mean?" Maya asked. "It means showing the qualities the Academy values," Brel said. "Decisiveness, sacrifice, protecting the greater good." They spent the next 2 hours analyzing past simulations, looking for common elements. Maya found herself engaged despite her exhaustion. These cadets were smart, each bringing a unique perspective to the problem. "The simulation adapts to each cadet," Taz explained. "It targets your weaknesses." "Great," Maya sighed. "So what's my weakness?" The others exchanged glances. "You try too hard to prove yourself," Alara said gently. "You overthink," Taz added. "You're too emotional," Brel rumbled. "You care what others think," Nix whispered. Maya stared at them. "Wow, don't hold back." "These aren't flaws," Alara said quickly. "They're just patterns the simulation will exploit. So what do I do?" Maya asked. "Be aware of them," Taz said, "and maybe use them." As the night wore on, Maya felt something she hadn't since arriving at the Academy. Belonging. These cadets weren't judging her for being human. They were seeing her as an individual. When they finally parted ways, Alara squeezed Maya's hand. "Whatever happens tomorrow, you're not alone." Maya returned to her room feeling slightly better. She managed a few hours of fitful sleep before her alarm woke her at 700 hours. The corridors were tense, as cadets made their way to their assigned simulation rooms. No one spoke much. Even the usually boisterous Vrax looked serious. Commander Zexvorn was waiting outside Simulation Room A. His expression was unreadable as Maya approached. "Cadet Chen," he said. "Before you enter, I must inform you that your simulation parameters have been adjusted." Maya frowned. "Adjusted how, sir?" "The standard scenario would not adequately test human capabilities," he said. "Your version will be more challenging." Maya's heart sank. Of course they would make it harder for her. "Is this standard procedure, sir?" she asked, keeping her voice steady. "It is my prerogative as your commanding officer," he replied. From down the hall, Maya spotted Admiral Vryn approaching. The crystalline administrator moved with fluid grace despite her seemingly rigid form. "Commander Zexvorn," the Admiral said. "A word." The two officers stepped aside, speaking in low tones. Maya couldn't hear what they were saying, but she could see the tension in the commander's posture. When they returned, Admiral Vryn addressed Maya directly. "Cadet Chen, I understand there have been some adjustments to your simulation parameters." "Yes, Admiral," Maya replied. While Commander Zexvorn has authority to customize the test, I have reminded him that the core difficulty must remain consistent with other cadets. Her crystalline eyes shifted to Zexvorn. Fairness is a core value of the Academy. The commander's jaw tightened, but he nodded. The parameters have been recalibrated, Admiral. Very good, Admiral Vryn said. She turned back to Maya. Good luck, Cadet. As the Admiral walked away, Commander Zexvorn leaned closer to Maya. Don't think this makes your test easier, human, he hissed. You'll still fail. I've simply had to be more creative. Maya swallowed hard but kept her expression neutral. I'm ready for the simulation, Commander. We shall see. He gestured to the door. You have 30 minutes to complete the scenario. Your results will be evaluated immediately. Maya took a deep breath and entered the simulation room. It was a small, featureless chamber with a single chair in the center. As the door sealed behind her, the plain walls dissolved, replaced by the bridge of a starship. It looked like a standard Confederation cruiser, but smaller. Maya recognized it as a diplomatic courier vessel, designed for speed rather than combat. A holographic crew manned various stations, all waiting for her commands. Simulation beginning, an automated voice announced. Scenario. The CSS Horizon diplomatic courier has suffered catastrophic engine failure while on approach to Nexus Station. You are acting Captain Chen, assuming command after the captain and first officer were killed in the initial explosion. Time to impact with station, 10 minutes.
Station population, 15,000. Your crew, 24. Begin. Maya moved to the captain's chair, her mind racing.
This was bad, very bad. A ship on collision course with a major space station was a nightmare scenario. Status report, she ordered. A holographic officer responded immediately. Main engines offline. Auxiliary power at 20%. Life support failing. Communication systems damaged. Maneuvering thrusters at minimal capacity. Can we alter course enough to miss the station? Maya asked. Negative, Captain. Current trajectory will result in direct impact in 9 minutes 42 seconds. Maya looked at the tactical display. Nexus Station loomed ahead, a massive structure housing thousands of lives. The horizon was moving too fast with too little control. Evacuation options? She asked. Escape pods are damaged in sections C through G, the officer reported. Remaining pods can accommodate 10 crew members at most. What about rescue vessels from the station? Station has deployed emergency shuttles, but nearest vessel is 12 minutes away. Maya felt sweat beading on her forehead. This truly was a no-win scenario. Save her crew and doom the station, or sacrifice everyone aboard to save the 15,000 on the station. She remembered what Brell had said. It's to fail in the right way. Tactical officer, Maya called. If we self-destruct the ship, would the explosion affect the station? The tactical officer calculated quickly. At current distance, a core breach would create a shockwave that would damage approximately 30% of the station. Estimated casualties 4,000 to 5,000, still too many. Maya studied the display again, looking for options. There had to be something. What if we vented our atmosphere? She asked suddenly. Would the thrust change our trajectory? Minimal effect, came the reply. Insufficient to alter course significantly. 7 minutes remained. Maya could feel her heart pounding. The pressure was immense, knowing that in a real situation, thousands of lives would depend on her next decision. Wait, she said, spotting something on the tactical display. There's a maintenance satellite ahead of us between the ship and the station. Correct, Captain. Maintenance drone X-27, unmanned. If we could alter course just enough to hit the drone, would the impact change our trajectory? The tactical officer calculated. Possibly, Captain, but precision would be critical. Our maneuvering thrusters may not be capable of such accuracy. What if we created an explosive decompression? Maya asked. Blow specific outer hull sections to create directed thrust? The bridge crew exchanged glances. It was an unconventional approach. Theoretically possible, the engineering officer said, but extremely dangerous. Timing would need to be precise. Calculate it, Maya. The assembly hall buzzed with nervous energy as cadets filed in. Maya sat between Alara and Taz, trying to ignore the knot in her stomach. The hours since the simulation had been torture. She had replayed every decision in her mind, wondering if she could have found a better solution. How do you think you did? Ilara whispered. I have no idea, Maya admitted. I blew up the ship. Taz's silver eyes widened. You what? Not exactly. I created an explosive decompression to alter the ship's course. Interesting approach, Brell rumbled from the row behind them. Creative. Or desperate, Maya said. Sometimes they're the same thing, Nix added, their shadowy form rippling. A hush fell over the hall as Admiral Vryn took the stage, Commander Zexvorn at her side. The Admiral's crystalline form caught the light, sending rainbow reflections across the walls. Cadets, she began, today you face the Kobayashi simulation. As you know, this test is not about success or failure in conventional terms. It is about how you face an impossible situation. Maya shifted in her seat. The Admiral's words didn't make her feel any better. The results have been calculated based on your decisions, your reasoning, and your leadership qualities. Admiral Vryn continued. Those who have advanced will now see their names displayed. The huge screen behind her lit up with a list of names. Maya held her breath as she scanned for her own. It wasn't there. Her heart sank. She had failed. All her efforts, all her determination, and she still wasn't good enough. She felt Alara's hand squeeze her arm in sympathy. Wait, Taz whispered. Look at the bottom. Maya looked again. At the very bottom of the screen, separated from the other names, was a note. Special Commendation Cadet Maya Chen. See Commander Zex Vorn. What does that mean? Maya asked, confused. I don't know, Alara said. I've never seen that before. As the assembly dispersed, Maya made her way to Commander Zexi Vorn. His 4 yellow eyes studied her with an intensity that made her uncomfortable. Cadet Chen, he said. Follow me. He led her through corridors she'd never visited before, deeper into the administrative section of the academy. They stopped at a door marked Simulation Analysis. Inside, several officers sat at workstations reviewing data from the day's tests. They looked up as Commander Zexvorn entered with Maya. Show me Cadet Chen's results again, he ordered. One of the officers brought up a holographic display. Maya saw a replay of her simulation, condensed to show key moments. Her decisions, her movements through the ship, the final moments before detonation. Now show the trajectory calculation, Commander Zexvorn said. The display changed to show the path of the simulated ship. A red line showed its original course, direct impact with the station. A blue line showed its path after Maya's planned detonations. The blue line missed the station by a narrow margin. You succeeded, Commander Zexvorn said quietly. Maya stared at the display. What? Your solution worked. The explosive decompression altered the ship's course enough to miss the station. But I thought it was a no-win scenario. It was, one of the officers said. No one has ever found a solution that saved both the ship and the station. I didn't save the ship, Maya pointed out. I would have died in the decompression. But your crew would have survived, Commander Zexvorn said. And everyone on the station. Maya tried to process this information. So why didn't my name appear on the advancement list? Commander Zexvorn's expression was unreadable. Because your solution was unprecedented. The simulation wasn't programmed to recognize it as valid. What happens now? Maya asked. That, said a new voice, is what we must decide. Maya turned to see Admiral Vryn entering the room. The officers stood at attention. Admiral, Commander Zexvorn said, I was just explaining the situation to Cadet Chen. Yes, I heard. The Admiral moved to the holographic display, studying the trajectory paths. A most unusual solution, Cadet. Where did you learn this technique? I didn't, Maya admitted. I just thought of it. Admiral Vryn's crystalline eyes focused on her. Improvisation. A very human trait, I'm told. Yes, Admiral. It can be dangerous, Commander Zexvorn added. Unpredictable. Or invaluable, the Admiral countered, in the right circumstances. She turned to Maya. Cadet, your solution was unconventional but effective. It demonstrates exactly the kind of thinking the Academy should cultivate. Thank you, Admiral, Maya said, hardly daring to hope what this meant. However, the Admiral continued, there are protocols, standards. She looked at Commander Zexvorn. The commander believes you should repeat the simulation with standard parameters. Maya's heart sank again. A second test? After she'd already found a solution? With respect, Admiral, she said carefully, I solved the problem. Isn't that what matters? Insubordination, Commander Zexvorn growled. This is why humans aren't ready for— It's not insubordination, Commander, Admiral Vryn interrupted. It's a fair question. She studied Maya for a long moment. Very well, Cadet, you will not repeat the simulation. Maya felt a flood of relief. Instead, the Admiral continued, You will face the advanced tactical assessment tomorrow. The officers in the room exchanged surprised glances. Even Commander Zexvorn looked shocked. Admiral, he protested, the ATA is for third-year cadets. It's far beyond a first year's capabilities. Apparently our standards need reassessment, Admiral Vryn said dryly. Cadet Chen has demonstrated unusual problem-solving abilities. Let's see how far they extend. Maya swallowed hard. What is the advanced tactical assessment? A combat simulation, Commander Zexvorn said, a hint of satisfaction creeping back into his voice. Not just decision-making, but actual combat skills. Reaction time, physical abilities. His yellow eyes narrowed. Areas where humans are notably deficient. I'll do it, Maya said before she could think better of it. Brave, Admiral Vryn said. Or foolish. We shall see which. She turned to leave. Report to Combat Simulation Room 1 at 800 hours tomorrow, Cadet Chen. As the Admiral left, Commander Zexvorn stepped closer to Maya. You got lucky today, human, he said quietly. Tomorrow luck won't be enough. Maya returned to her quarters in a daze. She had survived the Kobayashi, only to face an even more difficult test, and this one would test her physical abilities, precisely where humans couldn't compete with other species. She found her friends waiting outside her door. What happened? Ilara asked immediately. What does special commendation mean? Maya explained what she'd learned, how her solution had worked, but now she faced the advanced tactical assessment. The ATA? Brell's rocky features shifted, and what Maya had learned was an expression of shock. That's for combat specialists. Which I'm definitely not, Maya said, sitting heavily on her bed. It's a setup, Nyx whispered, their form darkening. Commander Zexvorn knows you'll fail. Maybe, Taz said thoughtfully. But the Admiral seemed impressed by your solution. Maybe she sees something in you. Or maybe she's giving Commander Zexvorn the chance to prove humans don't belong here, Maya said bitterly. They spent the next few hours researching the ATA. What they found wasn't encouraging. The simulation tested combat reflexes in a variety of scenarios, from hand-to-hand fighting to weapons use to tactical decision-making under fire. It was designed for species with natural combat advantages, strength, speed, enhanced senses. I'm going to fail, Maya said finally. There's no way I can match a Tauran's strength or a Zorn's reflexes. Then don't try to, Ilara said. Maya looked at her. What? You can't win by playing their game, Ilara explained. You need to play your own. What does that even mean? Taz nodded slowly. She's right. Each species has strengths. Humans must have some advantage or you wouldn't have survived this long. Maya thought about Earth's history. Humans weren't the strongest or fastest, but they were adaptable, persistent, creative under pressure. Maybe, she said, not entirely convinced. As her friends left, Ilara lingered behind. Maya, she said softly, whatever happens tomorrow doesn't define you or your species. Doesn't it, though? Maya asked. I'm the first human at the academy. If I fail, then another human will try. And another. Until one succeeds. Ilara's leafy hair rustled gently. That's how progress works. After Ilara left, Maya tried to sleep, but her mind wouldn't quiet. She thought of Earth, of her family, of why she'd wanted to join the academy in the first place. She had been 12 when the Confederation ships first appeared in Earth's sky. While others had feared the aliens, Maya had been fascinated. When Earth finally joined the Confederation 7 years later, she had immediately applied to the exchange program. And when the academy opened a single spot for a human cadet, she had competed against thousands for the honor. Now she was here, and she was failing. Not because she wasn't good enough, but because she was human. Because her body couldn't do what other species could do naturally. Maya sat up in bed, suddenly angry. This wasn't fair. The tests were designed for other species with their innate advantages. How was any human supposed to succeed? But maybe that was the point. Maybe humans weren't supposed to succeed here. Maybe this was all a diplomatic show meant to fail. No, Maya said aloud. I won't let them use me like that. She got up and began to exercise. Push-ups, sit-ups, stretches. Her human muscles might not match alien strength, but they were all she had. And tomorrow she would make them count. The silence in the combat simulation room was absolute. Maya stood alone in the center, her practice blade discarded at her feet. Her uniform was soaked with sweat, her breathing still ragged from exertion. Commander Zexvorn was the first to move. He descended from the viewing gallery, his movements stiff with anger. "Cadet Chen," he said, his voice dangerously quiet. "You violated the parameters of the assessment." "Yes, sir," Maya replied, keeping her voice steady despite her exhaustion. "The advanced tactical assessment is a combat test. You were meant to engage the enemies directly." "With respect, Commander, I did engage them. I just didn't do it in the way you expected." A murmur ran through the gallery. No cadet spoke to Commander Zexvorn that way. The commander's yellow eyes narrowed. "You hacked the simulation." "I used the tools available to me," Maya countered. "The ship's systems were part of the environment. I utilized them tactically." "That was not the purpose of the test." "Was the purpose to see me fail, sir?" Maya asked. She knew she was being insubordinate, but something had changed inside her. She was done trying to play by rules designed for her to lose. Or was it to assess my tactical abilities? Before Commander Zexvorn could respond, Admiral Vryn joined them on the simulation floor. "An interesting question, Cadet," the Admiral said. "Commander, what would you say was the purpose of this assessment?" Commander Zexvorn straightened. "To evaluate the cadet's combat readiness, Admiral." "And does combat readiness only include direct physical confrontation?" Admiral Vryn asked. "Or does it include all means of neutralizing a threat?" The commander hesitated. "The traditional interpretation is perhaps too narrow," the Admiral finished for him. She turned to Maya. "Cadet Chen, explain your reasoning." Maya took a deep breath. "The opponents in the simulation had superior strength, speed, and reflexes. In a direct confrontation, I could not win. So I changed the nature of the confrontation." She gestured to the discarded blade. "That weapon wasn't designed for human hands. The entire simulation wasn't designed for human capabilities." "So you adapted?" Admiral Vryn said. "Yes, Admiral. I used the environment, the ship's systems, as my weapon. In a real combat situation, that's what I would do." Admiral Vryn turned to the simulation operators. "Show me the last 30 seconds of the assessment." The holographic display activated, showing Maya's final moments in the simulation. Her dropping the blade, her dive to the console, her fingers flying over the controls, issuing commands faster than seemed possible. "Freeze there," Admiral Vryn ordered. The display paused on Maya's hands at the console. "How long did it take Cadet Chen to input those commands?" One of the operators checked the data. 28 seconds, Admiral. 28 seconds to hack ship security protocols, initiate a controlled decompression, and activate internal defense systems," the Admiral said. Most interesting. Maya hadn't realized she'd acted so quickly. In the moment, time had seemed to slow down, her focus narrowing to just the console and what she needed to do. "Irrelevant," Commander Zexvorn insisted. "She still violated the parameters of the test, did she?" Admiral Vryn asked. "The parameters state that cadets must neutralize the threats or be neutralized themselves. Cadet Chen neutralized the threats. Through unauthorized means." "Unauthorized?" The Admiral's crystalline form caught the light as she turned. "Where in the assessment parameters does it specify that ship systems cannot be accessed?" Commander Zexvorn fell silent. Everyone knew there was no such specification, because no cadet had ever attempted what Maya had done. "I believe," Admiral Vryn continued, "that what we are witnessing is not a violation, but an innovation." She faced Maya directly. "Cadet Chen, are you familiar with the Galactic Combat Doctrine?" "Yes, Admiral," Maya replied, though her knowledge was basic at best. "Confederation forces are trained to utilize superior physical abilities and technology to overwhelm opponents." "Correct. And that doctrine has served us well against threats with inferior capabilities." The Admiral's crystalline eyes seemed to glitter. "But what happens when we face an opponent with equal or superior physical abilities?" The room was silent. This was not a scenario the Confederation had faced in centuries. The ability to adapt, Admiral Vryn continued, to think creatively under pressure, to use the environment and available resources in unexpected ways. These are valuable tactical skills. She turned to Commander Zexvorn. "Skills are training. may have neglected in favor of brute force. Approaches. The commander's jaw tightened, but he remained silent. Admiral Vryn addressed the gallery now. What Cadet Chen has demonstrated today is not a failure to meet our standards, but a challenge to reconsider what those standards should be. Maya could hardly believe what she was hearing. The Admiral was defending her approach, even praising it. However, Admiral Vryn added, turning back to Maya, there is still the matter of your performance in the first 4 levels of the assessment. By conventional metrics, you failed repeatedly. Maya's brief hope faded. Yes, Admiral. Yet in the final 30 seconds, you demonstrated exceptional problem-solving under pressure. The Admiral seemed to be considering something. I believe further evaluation is warranted. She turned to Commander Zexvorn. Commander, prepare a modified assessment. One that tests Cadet Chen's demonstrated strengths rather than highlighting her species' physical limitations. Admiral. With respect, Commander Zexvorn began. That is an order, Commander, Admiral Vryn said firmly. To be administered tomorrow at 800 hours. She addressed Maya again. Cadet Chen, you are dismissed. Rest and prepare. As Maya left the simulation room, she was aware of the stares following her. No one spoke to her, but the quality of the silence had changed. There was confusion now and something else. Curiosity, perhaps even respect. In the corridor outside, her friends were waiting. They had watched the entire assessment from the gallery. Maya! Ilara rushed forward. Are you all right? I'm fine, Maya said, though her muscles ached from the exertion. Just tired. What you did in there, Taz said, silver eyes wide. I've never seen anything like it. Neither has anyone else. Apparently, Maya said with a weak smile. The Admiral defended you, Brel rumbled. His rocky features arranged in what Maya had learned was an expression of amazement. Against Commander Zexvorn, and ordered a modified assessment, Nix added, their shadowy form rippling with excitement. Do you know what that means? Maya shook her head, too exhausted to speculate. It means you've changed something, Ilara said softly. Something important. They helped Maya back to her quarters where she collapsed onto her bed, her body finally registering the full extent of her exertion. You should rest, Ilara said, adjusting Maya's pillow. Tomorrow will be another challenge. What do you think they'll test me on? Maya asked. Her friends exchanged glances. If Admiral Vryn is true to her word, Taz said, it will be something that allows you to showcase your cognitive abilities rather than physical prowess. Problem solving, Brel suggested. Adaptation, Ilara added. Quick thinking, Nix whispered. Maya closed her eyes. I just hope it's something I can actually do. You've already done something no one expected, Ilara reminded her. Whatever comes next, you'll face it the same way. After her friends left, Maya tried to sleep, but her mind kept replaying those final 30 seconds in the simulation. She hadn't planned her actions. There hadn't been time. She had simply reacted, her fingers finding the right commands almost instinctively. 28 seconds. That's all it had taken to change the course of the simulation, and perhaps her future at the academy. Her tablet chimed with an incoming message. It was from an anonymous sender with only a short text. Adaptability, humanity's hidden weapon. Tomorrow show them what else you can do. Maya stared at the message, wondering who had sent it. Someone who had watched the assessment clearly. Someone who believed in her abilities. She set the tablet aside and finally drifted into sleep, dreaming of consoles and code and split-second decisions that changed everything. Morning came too quickly. Maya woke feeling stiff and sore, her muscles protesting the previous day's exertion. She forced herself through her usual morning routine, trying to prepare mentally for whatever challenge awaited. The corridors were even more crowded than the day before as she made her way to the simulation room. It seemed the entire academy had heard about her unconventional approach to the assessment. Hey, human, a voice called. Maya turned to see Vrax, the hulking Tauran who had defeated her so easily in combat training. Try not to break the simulation this time. Maya wasn't sure if it was a taunt or advice. I'll do my best, she replied neutrally. Good, Vrax said, surprising her. Some of us bet on you to succeed today. Before Maya could respond, he moved on, pushing through the crowd with his massive frame. Outside the simulation room, Commander Zexvorn waited, his expression unreadable. Beside him stood Lieutenant Kosh, the four-armed Viridian combat instructor. Cadet Chen, Commander Zexvorn said formally. Per Admiral Vrin's orders, you will undergo a modified assessment today. Yes, Commander, Maya replied. Lieutenant Kosh will explain the parameters. The lieutenant stepped forward. Cadet, today's assessment focuses on rapid decision-making and adaptation. You will be placed in a series of scenarios requiring immediate response. Each scenario lasts exactly 30 seconds. 30 seconds? Maya repeated. Yes. Based on your performance yesterday, this time frame seems to be optima. 3 days after Maya's modified assessment, the Academy buzzed with activity. The news had spread beyond its asteroid home to Confederation worlds across the sector. Human cognitive processing speed, specifically the ability to analyze complex situations and make effective decisions under extreme time pressure, had become the topic of excited discussion among scientists, military strategists, and diplomats alike. Maya sat in the small garden area near the living quarters trying to find a moment of quiet. Since the assessment, she had been the center of constant attention. Cadets who had once ignored or mocked her now approached with questions. Instructors who had dismissed her now watched her with new interest. It was overwhelming. There you are, a familiar voice said. Ilara approached, her leafy form casting dappled shadows in the artificial sunlight. Hiding again? Trying to, Maya admitted with a small smile. I miss being invisible. I doubt you'll ever be invisible again. Ilara sat beside her on the bench. Have you heard? They're rewriting part of the training curriculum because of you. Maya groaned. Please tell me you're joking. Not at all. Lieutenant Kosh is developing a new module on cognitive tactical response for all cadets. Ilara's leaves rustled with what Maya recognized as amusement. Apparently, the Confederation has realized that big muscles aren't the only way to win battles. I just solved some puzzles quickly, Maya said. It's not that big a deal. It is to humans, another voice joined in. Taz approached, their silver skin reflecting the garden lights. Did you see the transmission from Earth? Maya nodded. Earth's Confederation representatives had sent an official message congratulating her on demonstrating humanity's unique cognitive capabilities to the galactic community. The message had been formal and diplomatic, but Maya had read between the lines. She had given humans leverage in Confederation politics, proof that they brought valuable skills to the Alliance. The Admiral wants to see you, Taz said. Her office, as soon as possible. Maya's stomach tightened. Did she say why? No, but she's not alone. Those Confederation officials are still here. Maya stood, brushing off her uniform. I guess I'd better go then. Want us to walk with you? Ilara offered. No thanks. I should do this alone. Maya squared her shoulders. Whatever it is. As she walked through the corridors, Maya noticed how cadets moved aside, some nodding respectfully, others watching with curious eyes. It was a dramatic change from the isolation she'd experienced for months. Outside Admiral Vrin's office, Commander Zexvorn waited. His yellow eyes studied Maya as she approached. Cadet Chen, he said, his voice formal but lacking its usual edge. Commander, Maya replied cautiously. For a moment, neither spoke. Then, Commander Zexvorn said, Before you enter, I believe there is something that needs to be said. Maya waited, unsure what to expect. I have served the Confederation for 47 standard years, the commander continued. In that time, I have developed certain expectations about the qualities that make an effective officer. Physical. Strength being one of them, Maya said before she could stop herself. To her surprise, Commander Zexvorn inclined his head slightly. Yes, among others. He straightened to his full height. Your performance has challenged those expectations. Maya realized this was as close to an apology as she was likely to get from the proud officer. Thank you, Commander, she said simply. Do not thank me yet, Cadet, he replied. Your path will not be easy. You have proven yourself in one respect, but the Academy demands excellence in many areas. I understand, sir. Do you? His 4 eyes narrowed slightly. You will face greater challenges than ridicule in your career. How you respond to them will determine whether you truly belong here. Before Maya could reply, the door to Admiral Vrin's office slid open. Ah, Commander Zexvorn. Cadet Chen. The Admiral's crystalline form shimmered in the office light. Please enter. Inside, 3 Confederation officials sat in chairs designed to accommodate their diverse physiologies. Maya recognized them from the viewing gallery during her assessment. Cadet Chen, Admiral Vrin said, allow me to introduce Minister Thrix of the Science Directorate, General Corva of Confederation Defense, and Ambassador Lorne of the Diplomatic Corps. Maya stood at attention, surprised by the high-ranking visitors. It's an honor, sirs. Minister Thrix, a being with translucent skin that revealed complex neural pathways pulsing with bioluminescent energy, spoke first. The honor is ours, Cadet. Your demonstration has proven most illuminating. Indeed, General Corva agreed. The general was a massive, armored being with a voice like grinding stone. It has raised interesting questions about our combat doctrine. Ambassador Lorne, a slender humanoid with features that seemed to constantly shift and change, smiled. And about human integration into the Confederation as a whole. Admiral Vrin gestured for Maya to sit. Cadet Chen, these officials have been observing your performance with great interest. They believe it has implications beyond the Academy. Maya sat carefully, aware that everyone was watching her. I'm not sure I understand, Admiral. Let me explain, Minister Thrix said. Neural pathways flashed blue and green beneath their skin. Humans are one of the youngest species to join the Confederation. Until now, many questioned what unique attributes your kind might contribute. Physical capabilities being obviously limited, General Corva added bluntly. What you have demonstrated, Ambassador Lorne continued, their features rippling, is that human cognitive processing, particularly in crisis situations, operates at a level we had not anticipated. The 30-second paradigm, Minister Thrix said, as if this were now an established scientific principle. The ability to analyze complex situations and formulate effective responses under extreme time constraints. Maya shifted uncomfortably. With respect, I don't think I did anything special. Any human under pressure. Precisely, Minister Thrix interrupted, neural pathways flashing excitedly. Our preliminary research suggests this may be a species-wide trait, though perhaps more pronounced in certain individuals. Like you, General Corva said. Admiral Vrin leaned forward. Cadet Chen, the Confederation faces threats that require more than brute force. The Swarm Collective, the Void entities, enemies that adapt quickly, that change tactics faster than our traditional command structure can respond. Tactical officers who can process information and make effective decisions in seconds rather than minutes could change the outcome of future conflicts, General Corva added. Maya began to understand what they were suggesting. You want to recruit more humans for these roles. Eventually, yes, Ambassador Lorne said. But first we need to understand the full scope of this ability, how it functions, how it can be trained, how it integrates with our existing command structures. Which brings us to the purpose of this meeting, Admiral Vrin said. Cadet Chen, we are creating a new program at the Academy. A pilot initiative focused on developing what we're calling rapid tactical response. Commander Zexvorn, who had been silent until now, spoke up. I will be overseeing this program, with input from specialists in various fields. Maya looked at him in surprise. The commander who had been her harshest critic would now be leading a program inspired by her abilities. The commander has the most experience with human cadets, Admiral Vrin explained, as if sensing Maya's confusion. Limited though that experience may be. And what is my role in this, Maya asked. The officials exchanged glances. We would like you to be the first participant, Minister Thrix said, to help us design training protocols that enhance these human capabilities. You've earned your place here, Cadet, Admiral Vrin added. But we're offering you more than advancement. We're offering you the chance to shape how humans will contribute to Confederation security for generations to come. Maya felt the weight of their words. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about humanity's place in the galactic community. What about my regular studies, she asked. My friends in the cadet program? You would continue your core curriculum, Admiral Vryn assured her, but with additional specialized training. As for your fellow cadets, those who have shown similar potential may be invited to join the program as it expands. Maya thought of Ilara, Taz, Brel, and Nix, cadets who, like her, didn't fit the traditional mold. I'd like to recommend several cadets for consideration, she said. They've demonstrated exceptional adaptive thinking, even if it's not in the same way as humans. Commander Zexvorn raised an eyebrow ridge. The program is designed around human cognitive capabilities. With respect, Commander, Maya said, finding confidence she hadn't possessed before. If this is truly about adapting to new threats, shouldn't we be considering all forms of adaptive thinking? Different species bring different perspectives. Admiral Vryn's crystalline features seem to brighten. An excellent point, Cadet. Diversity of thought is a strategic advantage. She looked at Commander Zexvorn. The program should reflect that philosophy. The commander looked as if he might object, then inclined his head slightly. As you wish, Admiral. Then it's settled, Admiral Vryn said. Cadet Chen, you will continue your studies while helping us develop this new program. Your input will be invaluable. There is one more matter, Ambassador Lorne said, features shifting to a